Philadelphia Eagles OTAs are in full swing, and from what we've seen so far, this team might be cooking up something truly special for the 2025 season. A handful of players have already started turning heads, and not just the big names you'd expect. We're talking about potential breakout stars, hidden gems quietly making noise on the practice field, and young guys with a hunger and skill to change the game. It's the kind of early buzz that should have fans on high alert because there's a real sense that something is brewing in Philly. Whether it's a rising edge rusher looking like he's ready to take the next leap, a rookie defensive lineman bulldozing his way into the spotlight, or underrated additions already showing they belong, the excitement is real. Let's start with Nolan Smith. Just 3 months after tearing his tricep in the Super Bowl, he was already back on the practice field, suited up with a helmet, rocking a brace on his arm, and moving through drills like a man on a mission. He wasn't a full participant, of course, and stuck mainly to individual work, but even that was a huge step forward considering the typical recovery time for that kind of injury is around 6 months. The fact that Smith is already out there this early suggests he might be ahead of schedule, and if he keeps trending in the right direction, there's a real shot he could be ready for training camp. That's wild. It's also a massive boost for the Eagles, because let's not forget what kind of leap Nolan Smith made last season. He went from barely seeing the field as a rookie to becoming a starting caliber edge rusher by the end of the year, notching 6.5 sacks during the regular season, and then turning it up a notch in the playoffs with 4 more. That postseason performance alone launched him in a second place all-time in Eagles playoff sacks. This guy was built for big moments, and with a bigger role coming in 2025, he could very well hit double-digit sacks and emerge as one of the league's breakout defensive stars. But Smith isn't the only player making noise early. Another name that's starting to generate serious hype is Jix Hunt. The second-year player out of Houston Christian has been flashing during OTAs, taking most of the first-team reps, and even logging what was reported as the only sack of Jalen Hurts during recent team drills. He's come into this offseason looking far more comfortable, confident, and locked in. Hunt himself admitted that things felt like they were moving a mile a minute last year. He was still figuring out the edge rusher position, transitioning from playing safety just a few seasons ago in college. But now, he's locked in. He's studying tape. He's refining his technique. He's focused on becoming more than just an athletic project. He wants to be elite, and he's approaching it like a professional. He talked about how the biggest difference between good and great players is the technical side, and that's where he's putting in the work. That shift in mindset is huge. When a player with his natural tools starts sharpening the technical side of their game, that's when the breakout happens. We saw the flashes last season. Hunt started slow, didn't get much playing time early on, but as the season progressed, he carved out a role. He finished strong, especially in the playoffs, where he tallied 1.5 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. That kind of production in high-stakes moments tells you everything about his ceiling. Now, entering year 2 with more experience, more comfort, and more opportunity, Hunt is set up to explode. The Eagles took a swing on potential when they drafted him in the 3rd round, and it's already starting to pay off. And he's not alone. Rookie defensive tackle Ty Robinson, a.k.a. the Vanilla Gorilla, also turned some heads. In a clip released by the team's social media, Robinson was seen absolutely destroying the blocking sled during an individual drill, tossing it aside like it weighed nothing. Sure, it's just a brief moment in a non-padded off-season practice, but that kind of intensity and physicality jumps off the screen. Robinson was a 4th-round pick out of Nebraska, and from the moment he was drafted, there was buzz about his upside. He's an athletic freak who stood out at the combine and showed he could both rush the passer and stuff the run. That's the kind of dual-threat skill set that gives a defensive tackle real staying power in the NFL. And now, seeing him bring that same energy in early practices only fuels the excitement. Another name to watch is Josh Uche. While we haven't seen quite as much on him during OTAs, fellow edge rusher Hunt gave him and Azeez Ojulari major props during a recent interview. Hunt talked about how both guys are explosive, detail-oriented, and obsessed with pass rushing. The kind of praise from a teammate who's clearly dialed and means something. These aren't just bodies filling roster spots. These are players who love the craft, study the game, and want to dominate. And for a team like Philly, which thrives on defensive line depth and rotation. Having that kind of mentality across the board is huge. Let's not forget the veterans either. Landon Dickerson, who missed one practice due to illness, confirmed that his knee injury and surgery are fully behind him. Cam Jurgens, recovering from back surgery, wasn't practicing yet, but was present during open sessions, signaling that his return is likely coming soon. These small updates matter, especially on a team with championship aspirations. The Eagles need their core healthy, and so far, the early signs are encouraging. Now, shifting gears a bit, there's been some trade buzz that's just too juicy to ignore. The big name floating around? Kyle Pitts. The tight end out of Atlanta has reportedly drawn interest from multiple teams, and while a deal might not be imminent, the Eagles have been linked as a potential suitor. It makes some sense. Pitts is still young, incredibly talented, and hails from Philadelphia. With Dallas Goedert entering the final year of his deal and creeping up in age, the long-term outlook at tight end is something the Eagles need to think about. Pitts hasn't quite lived up to his draft hype, but the talent is still there. And in Philly's offense, with their quarterback and playmakers around him, it's not hard to imagine a scenario where he flourishes. Of course, trading for Pitts wouldn't be cheap. He's got a cap hit of around $10 million this year, and the Falcons won't give him away unless the price is right. That said, Philly just freed up some cap space by trading Bryce Huff and parting ways with veterans like Darius Slay and James Bradberry. That flexibility opens the door for moves. Whether or not it's Pitts remains to be seen, but the idea is at least on the table. Some fans have also floated Justin Simmons as a possible target to help reinforce the secondary, which could make a ton of sense given the uncertainty at safety. Speaking of the secondary, the competition at cornerback and safety is shaping up to be one of the most intense storylines of the summer. The coaches have been mixing and matching lineups, giving different guys chances to show what they can do. One interesting wrinkle is Nakobe Dean lining up outside in some base sets. That kind of positional versatility could be key to carving out playing time, especially with the depth chart still fluid in a few spots. And Dean himself gave an encouraging injury update, saying he's trending in the right direction and expects to be ready for the regular season. Considering the severity of his previous injury, that's a pleasant surprise and a potentially huge boost to the linebacking core. And as if all that wasn't enough, the team brought in Olympic gold medalist Michael Johnson to speak with the players during OTAs. Johnson delivered a powerful message about personal accountability, drive, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. He talked about how he used to crave criticism from his coach, always looking for ways to improve, to sharpen his edge. It was about mindset, being obsessive with the small details that separate good from legendary. That message clearly resonated, and if the team can channel that kind of energy, especially from a figure as accomplished as Johnson, it could have a lasting impact throughout the season. So yeah, it's only OTAs. Pads aren't on yet. No real contact. But the early signs? They're loud. This Eagles team isn't just showing up. They're showing signs of something special. From young players finding their voice to injured stars pushing ahead of schedule to the possibility of adding even more firepower, everything points to a squad that's not just hungry to bounce back, but ready to dominate. And if the energy from these off-season sessions carries over into training camp and beyond, then 2025 might just be a season to remember in Philadelphia. Now, while the early excitement around the Philadelphia Eagles OTAs has mostly centered around the young players flashing their potential and the positive injury updates, there's another layer to this team that's starting to take shape, and it's just as important. Behind every breakout story and health update is the larger question. How does this all fit into the bigger picture of what the Eagles are trying to build for the 2025 season? Because let's be honest, this isn't a team just looking to be competitive. They're aiming for dominance. And with that kind of ambition, every single detail matters. Take the edge rusher group, for example. With Bryce Huff gone to San Francisco and Brandon Graham officially retiring, that opens up 2 spots on the depth chart. That's not just about minutes on the field, it's about identity. The Eagles have long been defined by their defensive front, and replacing that production and leadership is no small task. But what's encouraging is how quickly new voices are stepping up to fill that void. Jix Hunt is clearly emerging as one of them. He's not just out there trying to earn a role. He's talking technique, leading film discussions, and building chemistry with guys like Uche and Ojulari. That kind of mentality is contagious. And when it spreads through a position group, it raises the bar for everyone. Uche, specifically, is a fascinating case. When healthy, he's shown the ability to get after quarterbacks with real explosiveness. Same goes for Ojulari. The issue with both of them has always been staying on the field. But if they can manage that, the Eagles might have stumbled into a three-headed monster alongside Smith. The idea of rolling out a rotation with Nolan Smith, Jix Hunt, Josh Uche, and Azeez Ojulari is the kind of depth that keeps offensive coordinators up at night. And it fits perfectly into what Philly has built its defensive success on: waves of fresh, hungry pass rushers who can attack from multiple angles. Meanwhile, on the interior of the defensive line, Ty Robinson is already making a case that he belongs in that rotation from day one. The Eagles didn't draft him just for depth. They saw something in his athletic profile and film from Nebraska that suggested he could be more than just a space eater. And now, early signs point to that bet paying off. The motor, the effort, the violence with which he attacks, even the most routine drills, that's not something you can teach. And in a room that includes veterans and seasoned pros, standing out like that early on says a lot. Fletcher Cox is gone. Jordan Davis is entering a pivotal year. Jalen Carter is poised to be a superstar. Adding a physical, high-motor rookie like Robinson into that mix might be exactly what they need to keep the group dangerous and balanced. But what makes this Eagles team especially dangerous is the mindset coming out of OTAs. It's not just about the players, it's about the culture. Bringing in someone like Michael Johnson to speak wasn't just a feel-good moment. It was a statement. The coaching staff wants every player to internalize what it means to chase greatness. They want these guys to obsess over the little things, to embrace discomfort, to welcome critique, and use it as fuel. That level of buy-in, especially this early in the offseason, could end up being the most important development of all. And speaking of buy-in, let's talk about the quarterback. Jalen Hurts has quietly been going about his business during OTAs, but don't mistake silence for complacency. Hurts is locked in. The word from inside the building is that he's not just executing, he's elevating. He's taking on more ownership of the offense, pushing teammates, setting the tone in meetings, and demanding excellence. After the ups and downs of last season, it would have been easy for Hurts to take a more measured approach. But that's not who he is. He's coming into this season with a chip on his shoulder, and from all accounts, he's out to remind everyone why he was a top MVP candidate not long ago. What's even more intriguing is how the offense around him is being quietly retooled. With Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown locked in as the top wideouts, and the offensive line healthy again, the core is solid. But there's a lot of curiosity about what kind of new wrinkles we might see, especially if the Eagles end up pulling the trigger on a trade for someone like Kyle Pitts. Now, again, the odds of that actually happening still feel slim. But the fact that it's even being discussed says a lot about how aggressive Howie Roseman and this front office are willing to be. They see a championship window right now. And when that window's open, you don't sit still, you go after difference makers. Pitts would certainly qualify. Despite his uneven production in Atlanta, he's still one of the most physically gifted tight ends in the league. His combination of size, speed, and hands is rare. In the right system, with the right quarterback, he could absolutely explode. The idea of lining him up with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Saquon Barkley is downright scary. It would give Philly one of the most dynamic, versatile offenses in football, capable of attacking defenses in countless ways. And with the cap space recently freed up, they at least have the flexibility to entertain bold moves like that if the opportunity arises. But even if a splash trade doesn't materialize, the Eagles are in a strong position to fine-tune the roster. That could mean targeting undervalued veterans who are still on the market. It could mean investing in young talent they believe can grow into bigger roles. Safety is another area where the Eagles could potentially look to add. Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown have shown flashes, but there's still a lack of proven depth. That's why names like Justin Simmons keep coming up. A veteran presence who can stabilize the back end, communicate pre-snap, and provide leadership could be a perfect fit. It would allow the younger guys to grow without being thrown completely into the deep end and give defensive coordinator Vic Fangio a trusted piece to build around. The beauty of this Eagles roster right now is that it's built with both the present and the future in mind. There's enough veteran talent to compete for a title right now, but also enough young, ascending players that the foundation for sustained success is already in place. And the coaching staff seems fully aware of that balance. They're not rushing development, but they're also not handing out roles based on tenure. Everything is being earned. Everything is being evaluated. And with each OTA session, the picture becomes clearer. The team's energy has been different too. There's a level of focus, of urgency, that wasn't always there last year. Maybe it's the disappointment of how the previous season ended. Maybe it's the influx of young, hungry players. Maybe it's the leadership in the locker room. Whatever it is, it's noticeable. Players are talking about it. Coaches are talking about it. And if they can carry that energy through camp and into the regular season, it could be a major difference maker. And it's not just about football. That culture of accountability, of obsession with greatness, is starting to become part of the team's DNA. That's how dynasties are built, not just through talent, but through mindset, through players who don't settle, through coaches who push buttons, through leaders who raise standards. That's what we're starting to see take shape in Philadelphia. As we inch closer to training camp, all eyes will be on how these storylines continue to develop. Will Nolan Smith be fully cleared? Can Jix Hunt keep stacking strong practices? Will Ty Robinson crack the rotation? Are more moves on the horizon? There are still so many questions left to answer, but one thing is clear. The Philadelphia Eagles are not playing it safe. They're pushing. They're evolving. And if this early glimpse at OTAs is any indication, they might just be getting started. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a surprising twist that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, rumors are swirling that the Philadelphia Eagles are preparing to welcome back one of their most iconic players, tight end Zach Ertz. While nothing has been officially confirmed yet, sources close to the team suggest that the Eagles are seriously considering bringing Ertz back into the fold, sparking excitement and speculation among fans and analysts alike. Zach Ertz, who played a pivotal role in the Eagles' offense during some of their most memorable seasons, including the historic Super Bowl 52 victory, has been a fan favorite for years. Known for his reliable hands, precise route running, and leadership on and off the field, Ertz's potential return could provide a much-needed boost to the Eagles' offensive arsenal. His chemistry with quarterbacks past and present is well documented, and many believe his presence would instantly elevate the team's passing game. The whispers about Ertz's comeback come at a time when the Eagles are seeking to strengthen their roster amid fierce competition in the NFC East. The tight end position has seen a fair share of rotation and uncertainty recently, and adding a seasoned veteran like Ertz could be a game-changer. His experience and knowledge of the Eagles system would allow for a smoother integration, possibly giving Philadelphia an edge in critical moments during the upcoming season. Despite the buzz, there are still many unanswered questions. Would Ertz be returning on a short-term deal? Could this move affect the team's salary cap or roster strategy? And what impact would this have on younger tight ends currently vying for playing time? These are the key points fans and insiders are eagerly watching as the situation develops. Additionally, Ertz's own motivations add an intriguing layer to this story. After stepping away from the spotlight, a return to the NFL could signal his desire to compete at the highest level once again, perhaps aiming to add more chapters to his already impressive career. The Eagles, on the other hand, could view this as an opportunity to blend veteran savvy with youthful energy, potentially crafting a more balanced and dynamic offense. While the Eagles organization remains tight-lipped, the mere possibility of Zach Ertz rejoining the team has ignited a flurry of discussions across social media and sports talk shows. Fans are already imagining the electrifying plays and clutch catches that could define Ertz's second stint in Philadelphia. Whether this rumor materializes into an official signing or remains just that, a tantalizing possibility, one thing is clear. the NFL world is watching closely. Zach Ertz's name is back in the conversation, and the Eagles might just be on the brink of a roster move that could reshape their season. Stay tuned as this developing story unfolds, with the potential to become one of the most talked about NFL comebacks in recent memory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.